whatever.
Hey coconuts, welcome back to Weekly Market Update.
Oh.
Did he lag down?
Yes, he lagged.
Okay, we
And
try
then
that
he
again. Try that
totally-
again. We try that
He
again.
Welcome to Weekly Market Update, coconuts, with me, Rakesh.
Anthony. And who do we have here? Oh, we seem to have a special guest star.
Thank you, guys.
Is he bored?
Sila, he must be.
Yeah. If you
Come
don't know
back to
me,
Singapore, nothing to do.
yes. But if you don't know me, I don't know what you're doing, lah, right? In the network, okay. So yes, I'm Reggie. I'm taking over Jefferson today. Yes, Jeff is not feeling too well, so very happy to be pulled onto the show with you guys. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Please.
Always fun to have you on.
You know you're always welcome.
Yes, I know, especially as a filler, lah. I think you need filler.
No
then
lah,
call me,
it's
right?
good. I don't-
Hey, need help.
These things
Good
don't
that
you
we
need to
need
say,
talk
right?
about
It's
it.
implied.
It's
It's implied.
Yeah. At least I have quality. At least I have sufficient quality to have that, right? Okay, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show. Very popular show these days. Yeah, right on the charts, guys. So thank you for pushing the show. Yes.
No, thanks to our listeners for listening. So,
Hmm.
all right, guys, let's get right down to it. Let's talk about three things today. First, we're going to bring up Roku's earnings. Second, we're going to talk a bit about Amplitude's earnings, and I'm crying a little bit, I'll be honest there. And lastly, some topic that we have to talk about is the conflict between Russia and Ukraine and the outcome that it could have on the market, right? So obviously we'll get to that towards the end, but let's start off with market updates, Roku earnings. Anthony, take it away.
All right. I mean, it's great to have Reggie here, right? So last week he released a podcast, potential multi-baggers. Roku was one of them. They announced earnings. Guess what? It dropped 22%. The next day.
Boom.
That's a deeper discount for an even higher probability of the multi-bagger, right? So,
Well, yes, exactly, right. But I love the timing. This is brilliant. I saw this like, okay, we have to talk about this today, right?
Are you
Okay,
like
so-
poking me on this?
No, I'm also a bag holder, so we are in the same boat.
Okay,
We're
we're
in the
carrying
same
the
boat.
bag. We're carrying the bag. We diamond hand, guys.
Yes.
Continue.
Yeah, we
continue.
buy more, buy the dip. Yeah. Okay. So in case coconuts don't know what Roku does, listen to Reggie's show. He'll tell you, right? It's a connected TV platform that's pretty much all you need to know about it. I'm more interested in the figures. What happened? They actually had decent earnings, right? So they announced earnings per share at 17 cents. That was much higher than the 9 cents that most people forecasted. Revenue was a bit lower. It was 865, about 2 or 3% lower than expected, but still 33% higher than last year, right? EBITDA was 55 million, so positive, making profits, but again below expectation. And I think what really drove the share price down was them saying we expect low growth next year, in the sense that
Right.
well, our EBITDA is not going to be great. It's okay, we are doing well, but because we are investing, we are going to have lower growth, and there's supply chain issues. There's all of that. It will be a good year, but it won't be as stellar, at least for the next few quarters. And well, with the market like this now, I think nobody liked that, and it just went down. Even if results were actually quite decent.
Yeah, that's it. Similar story on the other end, I have to say. All right. It's like you're saying the same thing I'm
Don't
about
you
to
love
say
it,
for
right?
amplitude.
Nothing much
But
happens and it's down 10-20%. It's like we are in the crypto
oh,
market now.
it's insane.
It's
Oh
like
my
we're in the crypto
god.
market. Maybe
Yeah.
there's a the feeling of the retail investors, right? All the retail investors, they leverage up, so they're all reacting the same, right? So yeah,
Mm,
maybe
mm.
yeah,
Maybe.
maybe
Maybe.
yes. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't know. This is just mad.
but yeah, I think for Roku, I mean, I for all of you that have not heard the episode that I did last week on the multi baggers, that Roku is one of my the first pick. When I was putting together the episode, because I know this kind of stock idea is very popular, always off the charts one, right? So I have to, as a content creator, we need numbers, right? So I thought, okay, like once a while, I'll slot these kind of things in, right? So Roku was my easy pick. Actually, the last one was a hard pick. The first one, Roku, was an easy pick. Why? Because I think, one thing that they've shown to be very successful is to transform away from the low margin hardware business into the high
Mhm.
margin ads and platform fees kind of business, right? Which is great and amazing, right? If you look at all the predecessors that have tried something similar, like your GoPro, like your Fitbit, they all tried something similar, right? Hardware, low margins, and of course because it's low margins, the competitors don't want to come in, right? So all your big guys, they have no interest in it, right? So low margin business, and then eventually they tried to sell some, connected fitness also. Fitbit tried to do
Yep.
some software, and GoPro tried to do like their own, OS to manage videos,
Yes.
store with online editing and everything. All
Everybody
failed.
wants to be a platform, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
of
everybody
course.
tried. Yeah.
To get the
So,
funding.
but they all,
Come on, let's be honest.
yeah. No, no. I mean, when they're at the listed position already, I don't think that's really the thing. It's more like after you've listed already, like where's your growth plans, right? You're here to dominate the space, right? So it's less about funding, but more about strategy, right? So the
Yeah.
natural trajectory essentially is,
It's tried and proven, right? Web
yeah,
two platforms, you
Mm,
capture the margins there. You look at Apple, look at all of Fang essentially, they're all platforms.
yeah,
Yes, actually,
absolutely.
all of Fang are
yeah.
all
They are
platforms.
all
So
platforms.
so that's I think the play that everybody tries to go for.
Yeah. And I think Roku is the only one in recent years that succeeded, to transform from a low margin hardware into a platform business. At least it looks like they're succeeding, right? So
Yeah, trying lah.
they're trying. But hey, free cash flow quite serious. Based on the ad business, $300 million. I think close to $800 million on ads business. The last I recall,
Yeah.
right? So pretty good numbers.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the interesting things about Roku, right? I mean, you think about, well, I think there's two things. One is that when, at least for a lot of Americans, when they think about Roku, they think about the stick because that was their first product. Of course, if you are Asian and you're in Singapore, you don't think anything about Roku because they're not here. So we don't even know what they
Mm.
are. And I think that the second part is when you think about Roku, you think, oh yeah, it's high growth. They must be losing money hand over fist. But the reality is that they are not. They are, well, free cash flow positive with a decent amount of positive, which is, and it's not like just 1 mil, right? It's a decent amount. They are EBITDA positive, so that's great. Their model seems to be working. Their margins are relatively stable. They don't have any debt, or they don't have any meaningful debt, and they have lots of cash, right? So even if we are saying there will be a downturn, it will take a while. That's fine, right? This company seems like it can survive without doing too much more, right?
Yeah.
Unlike your high margin, your hardware businesses where you, like Peloton, right, where you need to keep pumping money in just to keep making products.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I feel hopeful, but I don't know, right?
You don't sound very hopeful.
Yeah.
I feel hopeful. It's like, no, the conviction shaking, bro.
Yeah. Always. If you are ever too certain, right, that means that you're wrong already.
Okay. I mean,
Wow, playing it
excessive.
humble, huh, this guy.
No. I think excessive certainty is problematic. And by the way, I just want to say another company popped to mind, Square. They started as the small little dongle thing. That's the hardware trying to do cash,
Yes.
do the cashless payment, right? And then look at where, where they have come so far.
Yes,
Yeah.
and look at where their share price has come so far too. It's terrible. Another backholder. I'm just hope that backholding, like tech growth, is terrible.
Yes. This year definitely is a horrible year. That's why the internet very quiet these days. Like.
A lot of courses coming up. You can learn to prepare for the next cycle.
Oh.
Wow, look at this guy.
But yeah, but
even dividend guys, right? Everybody value dividend growth. Everybody's starting to teach now.
yeah, it's true. I
No,
mean, yeah,
course.
property also starting to teach again, right? So I see all the courses coming in. So
never ending lah nowadays. Never ending, honestly.
yes. Hopefully,
But I mean,
our listeners can consume, right, and then don't need to go for these courses. But yeah, whatever.
yes, yeah. Hopefully, we are of value here, right? And I do believe so. And on that note, coming to the topic at hand, Roku, right? As we digress.
Yeah, they're a great company, right? Nothing much to talk about.
End of discussion. Yes.
Not financial advice. Yeah, but yes.
But when I think of Roku, and of course I'm not as well versed as you, and of course Reggie is, having done that podcast, is that I always looked at Roku as a device that you can stream and watch all the different things. Right now, with that, there is a lot of others out there as well. So when you mentioned earlier, like they don't really have to do much and will maintain that growth, so on and so forth. What did you mean by that? Because you've got Amazon that's trying to pump money in, you've got Disney Plus that's trying to grow into that. Do you see this, or do you see them as competitors? That's maybe the first question that I could ask.
Okay, I think they are all definitely competitors, right? So Amazon had their Fire Stick, Eon's back. They still have, they still are trying. Google, they are also trying, right? We had news, I think, a month or two back about Google YouTube re-signing with Roku, but Google is a competitor because they also want to do an OS. And I think that the easiest way to think about maybe Roku now is that they are OS for TVs, right? So your phone, you have your Android and Apple, for TV. I mean, there's Samsung, I guess. There's Samsung Internet TV, there's LG Internet TV,
Yep.
in Asia, but in the US, apparently there's nothing much. It's really just Roku. They have 40+% market share, which is great, right? And it's growing. They are the largest connected TV OS in the US and Mexico, I think. So that's where they're coming from, and that's where Google was trying to compete, right? With Google, I don't even know what they call it, Google OS for TV, whatever, right? But that is the competition, and that's a risk, no doubt. But I think with these sort of things, as we see platforms build out, you want the network effects, right? And that's always where it comes back to. So look, Roku is risky, definitely, right? It's what, 15 billion company. It's not that big in the scheme of things. Amazon could buy it with like free cash flow from a year, right? If they really wanted to.
Not even.
But
Yeah.
not even. It's like 1 quarter free cash flow. There you go. I have a new, I have the leading OS in the US, right? But that's also the opportunity because it's a new market, and it's so small, but you can see the world moving to streaming, right? And that is where I think the opportunity that I see, and I think Reggie sees as well, that if they can win, I mean, it's not certain that they will win. If Apple releases Apple TV, you are going to buy it. You're not going to buy Roku anymore. So that is going to be the challenge. But if they win, your upside is enormous, right? It's like buying Amazon when they were still a bookseller.
Yeah. So I think that's why it's a multi-bagger, right? The discussion is
Yep.
not about growth, right? Multi-baggers always have to go through quite a few big leaps, right? And one of the leaps is to have these giants surrender. That means they decide not to compete anymore, right? And just kind of collaborate, right? So I think from Anthony's point about Apple, right? Yeah, maybe. Okay, not maybe lah. I'm pretty sure if Apple comes out with their own TV, with the whole walled garden ecosystem, all the Apple users will hop on, But once again, they
Then they
only
realize
serve.
no Netflix.
Yeah, right. So, but then that's the other question altogether, right? It's Roku has multiple elements of the business that no one else is competing at once. So everyone is doing a little bit, and actually most of them are at the content play, right? So the platform is too clunky and too heavy to build on your own already. So even what Rakesh was talking about for Disney, right? I mean, there's some article to show that Disney was selling most of their early adoption all through Roku,
Yep.
right? So they have gotten to a place where they got a tech, they got the users, and they also have their own shows. So I kind of see that whole And they signed Demi Lovato, right? There's only one Demi Lovato, just running a talk show. I don't know why lah. They can sign us, okay? They can sign us, but
They
they
cannot sign us.
I don't know. They cannot find any other people to talk already, so they have to find Demi Lovato, okay? But whatever it is, she's famous, she's a celebrity, and you don't have another Demi Lovato, right? So if on the whole celebrity effect, then yeah, you may see you can kind of see that whole flywheel going on, right? But to me, the most important thing that they have cracked is really the high margin business of ads and platform fees, right? They have successfully got into that ground. Whether can they continue to grow, that's the question mark. Not so concerned about the whole like hardware slowdown, because yeah, you will see it across everybody, like Whirlpool, Peloton, everybody will come and tell you, oh, they all got hardware supply chain problems. Everybody has it.
Peloton
So
got
it's not
excess supply, actually, I think so.
Peloton got excess CEO lah. Never mind, stepped down already. So, but yeah, I'm sure all these hardware guys, they're all struggling. So it's not unique to them. Important to see how this newfound cash flow, because it's only last quarter that they saw that top line really burst through with like all these high margin business, right? So if they continue to grow at 80% on their top line for these ads and platform fees, in a few quarters that will be a $2.5 billion revenue, right? Just on that front alone.
Just on that front, exactly.
Yeah, and then it will give them the war chest to compete. Right, and then you will feel a lot safer as an investor. Be like, okay lah, they can fight lah, like Apple, okay lah, can fight. Yeah. But for now, it's still a question mark.
This is a work in progress lah.
It's a work in progress. Yes.
Absolutely. Cool, guys. All right. Cool. Any last words there? If not, we'll move on to a similar story with Amplitude.
No, I think we're good with Roku. Just not financial advice, but look at it seriously.
Yeah.
Right.
$15 billion today, yes. Can multi-bagger lah. My view lah. Yeah. If you want to hear longer of my view, you can go and listen to the other episode. Yes.
Yep, definitely do so.
Right.
All right, folks. Next up for our next story, we've got Amplitude. We've talked about this before. I remember bringing it up probably Q3, I think, just after they IPO right here on Market Updates. So thought we'd do a revisit given the issues that they faced over the last week, right? So just like Roku, the price actually tanked a bit. But let me give you some numbers first, right? Most importantly. So revenue actually increased 64%, right? Year on year and it beat the estimates of revenue. So that's one thing that was good.
Okay.
Customers actually increased by 54%, right? Year on year.
Mm-hmm.
And retention increased from 119% to 123%, which means existing customers paid 23% more than they did the previous year. That said, right? Right. So that's the good aspect of things. The reason why they dropped in terms of the stock price and what I believe to be the market sentiment is that their forecast for Q1 was still bigger than what it was this year, but lesser than the estimates given by your market lah, right? Or the people writing whatever this and that. Oh, yes, analysts. And here's the thing. It wasn't off by much, right? So they estimated 50 to 51 million. The estimation coming from the analysts are 51.3. Full year growth was only off by 1.9 million from 234, which was said by Amplitude, to 235.9, which was said by analysts, right?
Okay.
And it dropped almost 50%. People weren't happy about those reasons, and it dropped from
it dropped
$40 to $20. Obviously,
50%.
Yeah, 40 to 16 or something, and then it shot back up.
What is
the 20, right? Which I believe it is now. The market cap here, very 2B right now.
Wait, what did it IPO at?
It IPO'd at $30-something.
So what is
right?
the market cap today?
Today the market cap is 2.2B, 2.27 billion, and they IPO'd at $30, and it's currently at $20. All right. And they, by the way, just let you know, they did just IPO in Q3, which is why we wanted to talk about it. So
Yeah.
it's really been, I think, what, 1 quarter earnings, I think was the, oh no, I think it was
Yeah. Yeah.
quarter
Yeah.
earnings that they released. So really not much history there, right? But here's the thing, they didn't go through a spec, right? I thought I'd just point that out. They didn't go through a spec. It was actually evaluated by one of the big companies, and then they went through it. They went through the normal route. But yes, so I mean, firstly, right? Do you think this is a bit of an exaggeration? Reg, what do you think?
No, regardless, my personal advice, not financial advice, all you people should avoid IPOs, right? Because
Well, I mean, if you got in day one, you sold day eight, you would have made a killing.
Yeah,
um,
Right? Yeah.
it
IPO is not
depends,
for the
right?
long term. Yeah.
so
Okay, IPO is not in this market.
all right, so no, it's not just this. More like if you I mean, for all of you, you should understand the IPO process, right? The IPO process goes through this whole bidding up process with all these private investors, and eventually, then a part of it will then get leaked out into the market. So all the news, all the hype, the people that make good IPOs, they all are out there to drive the hype, the excitement about it, right?
Yeah.
So there'll be a lot of expectations priced into it, whether it gets amazing off the roof, or it doesn't. That's a whole question mark. But there's a tendency for a lot of these private investors to then exit over the next few quarters, once they are
Yeah.
once they have finished their locked up period.
Yep.
Right, so you also want to know, like, the founders, are they exiting, at what rate are they exiting? So all these things you won't know until you let it kind of play through, like, kind of let it kind of go out for a little bit longer. So usually I don't look at IPOs until about a year into the company, right? So then I can see the management, go to a few quarters and see how they perform, because a lot of times it's also this whole, like, investor management process, and you get way more scrutiny when you're a public company.
Yes.
So a lot of management fumble. I mean, Peloton, right? They fumble, right? So a lot of management will fumble, and he's not the only one, right? So you want to be able to kind of hold it for a while, at least in my view, hold it for a while, stay away from these kind of things, and just let it play out. Let all the people that are out for the hype to be gushed out first. There will always be a better entry point. Yeah, that's kind of where I am. I tend to avoid IPOs. Yeah.
Yeah. Different strokes for different folks. Yeah.
Yes,
It's really
yes. So I'm just sharing my stroke. Yes, that sounds a bit wrong, but anyway.
No, you can give a stroke to yourself. Thank you.
Yes. I know. People queue up for IPOs. I was like, why? But
Yeah
yeah.
lah,
So,
you sell 1 week later. I mean, look, it's better than the Singapore IPOs, right? I think
mm,
we have a few mistakes recently that it was the first day dump. So yeah, but I hear you about the IPO process. That's just not a fair retail process, I would say.
yes. Retailers are out to hold the bag, huh?
Yes, of course.
Right.
I mean,
Anthony,
Whooper
what are your
getting
thoughts
dumped
here,
on.
man?
I mean, look, I remember this because we were talking about amplitude, and I was like, huh, what, 30 price to sales? I think it was 30 or 40 price to
It's
sales.
15
It
now, bro. It's
was
15 now.
it's 15 now. It was 30. I was 20 something when I went in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, right? So I was like, this is insane price. No way. Sales shot up even over the last quarter, but price to sales has gone down, well, because I think the market sentiment has changed, right? But you see, I don't think this change in sentiment is stock specific. It's just nobody likes tech now. Which to me just goes, I like to be contrarian, or I think that people are usually wrong because people are stupid. So yeah, it's nice to have a different view and to say, if everybody's slightly scared, people don't like this kind of stocks, then maybe it's time to look deeper into it, right? And if you look at the financials, it looks decent. Your revenue growth is amazing. It's still 50-60%. Retention, which is important for growth companies because you want to land and expand, right? So your net dollar based retention is what, 123%, which is fantastic. So last year somebody spent $1, now they're spending $1.20 with you, right? It's the same customer.
Yes.
So if you can increase your customers, you can increase the amount each customer spends with you. Hopefully you don't lose too much on your business model, so your margin works. I don't know what the margin is, so that's probably something to look out for. But if their margins are still increasing, then hey, this sounds like a good business, right? Honestly, I have no idea what amplitude sells. I
Right.
think it's some process software. I don't know, but I think it's the SaaS companies follow the same story, right? You want to land and expand. You want to have good margins. You don't want to you will spend a lot on sales and marketing, which makes free cash flow and EBITDA look bad, and that's it, right? So there's a script there. They are following it. We'll see how it plays out.
Got it. Got it. Cheers, man. Actually, so Amplitude, I'm a user of Amplitude, just to let you know, pre-IPO, which is why I think they're going to do well, right? Bias, massive bias. Say it outright. They
Yes.
actually data insights of apps,
Okay.
right? Of event campaign analytics. Like they do all of that, right? Specifically for in-apps. And they are the first in there with such an easy user interface. So I actually didn't need much training in order to actually just do it. Which is pretty cool. Its competitors are still going through funding rounds. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Series B, I think, was the closest one. Of course, you got Google Analytics, but it's not specific into in-app and all of that, right? It's a lot more detailed with Amplitude.
But do you then factors Google's ability to just kind of like pivot and open up their analytics as an additional offering? They could just slice these guys, like Mayola tomorrow, free Google
absolutely.
Analytics. I give you.
Absolutely right, but then effectively you can Roku as well. Tomorrow, Amazon could open something, tie up with TVs. And Google's best interest to do that. But I think they've got to fit, in all fairness.
Yeah, I think the fear or the concern I have with all this big tech could kill you the next day type of stories is big tech aren't actually that good. Not all the time, right? I mean, they launch a lot of products. They try a lot of things and they fail in a lot of things as well. So yes, there's definitely overlap because I mean they're everywhere, so there will definitely always be overlap. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they will win.
Yeah. But I mean, I want to challenge what Rakesh said about like, isn't that can't you say the same thing for Roku? I'm like, if you
Roku is
understand the
different.
business
Roku is a unicorn,
processes,
bro.
is a total different. This is just another. To put it very bluntly, I mean, I don't discount the value that goes into data analytics, right? But they're firstly they're not the only guys in data analytics. There are a lot of other companies and we're talking about Google, right? So UI wise, it's really if Google want to be an ass and just kind of like swing themselves into the game, then it's a lot easier, right? The modes are not as clear at this point in time, I will say, for a company like that. Yeah, but it's riding the wave, and I think I talked about this in one of the earlier podcasts about going forward. This is a hard time for a lot of growth companies because at today's price point, at today's valuation, it's very hard for them to raise money through equity. That's one thing, and most of them will struggle through debt. They will be horrible with debt investment. So most of them will not 10%, 12% year on year, right? For their debt investment, they will not do it, right? So
that's so cheap.
Yeah, they're worse than junk bonds.
That's really, really cheap for mezzanine level debt, right? And for which for these companies they'll have to take.
Yeah, so okay, so but if you think about that, it's very serious debt compounded over time, right? So that's horrible, and I dare say there will be a lot of M&A activities, in the next year, this year, next year. Yeah, a lot of these small guys will be swallowed up. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Cool.
just to add on that point, I mean the M&A activities is already off the charts now, right? People are busy.
Yes, there's a lot of consolidation going on.
Yeah, a lot of consolidation, which is why lawyers are quitting everywhere. But that's not too much work.
Cool, folks. Thanks for that. Yeah, I wanted to bring that up, but I think there's value there. Whether it goes up to what it was 80 before all the tanking, I was massively happy. So I met Anthony. What was it, Q4? It was at 80. I was making almost $40. I was like, whoa.
But genius,
anyway,
right?
we already knew at that point in time it was inflated. Sorry?
Yeah, so did you sell actually, or we just rode the wave down?
I sold some, but I kept most of it because I expected to really hit triple digits. I still do, because I know the management, I know the software, and I don't believe Google can beat that. You're not right.
Mm.
We would have signed up with Google
Why? Give me a little bit
Amplitude.
color. Give me a little bit of color. Why are they so powerful from a fundamental point of view?
So they operate with a lot of integrations. You can integrate with any of your APIs of your software, right? That also then can then give you exact details of all the data you want to collect. So they're a data aggregator for you as well, right? And it gives you the customization element and personalization element to then pull out data to make better strategic decisions. In a role model answer, that's what it is. Google Analytics tells you pages.
Mm,
That's it.
yeah, yeah.
It doesn't go as deep, nowhere deep. And you can run different campaigns, you can run different elements like, hey, okay, where did they click? Which page didn't they visit? For how long? Why?
Mm.
So it's a lot more
Okay, so
data insights to see how to improve your
Interesting.
UX as well as your flow.
cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. On that front, I just want to say, Facebook and Instagram is still showing me ads for Turkey.
Oh,
So that's a problem, right? Because of the whole Apple thing that they don't get data from Apple. So like, why are you
yes.
still showing me cafes in Turkey? Right. So this is something, for all of you to think about. I'm already in Singapore, right? So yeah, Facebook, the CPM going up, not a very good sign. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Actually, we do have a stock geek out coming out soon, so of Meta.
Oh,
So stay tuned.
Yeah. All about the data. Yes.
all right.
All right. Last but not least, Anthony, why don't you bring up this topic?
I don't know if we are calling it war. Nobody has actually started fighting, right?
Not
Yeah,
yet.
okay. I see people nodding their heads. Yeah,
No.
so I don't think anybody's fighting.
Fair.
Okay, so as when we are recording this, Russia has sent troops into Ukraine. And apparently some tanks, even though not too much, but yeah, they found a reason they went in. It's been telegraphed by the US for whatever reason. I don't know. This whole thing is confusing to me, right? And look, I'm no geopolitical expert. Maybe Reggie thinks he is, but let's not talk
Yeah.
about the political aspect of it.
Reggie always thinks that lah. That one, don't worry.
Yeah.
Right? I
Pseudo
mean,
geopolitical expert, yes.
yeah, we don't know what will happen, right? And I don't, and if anybody tells me that, oh, this is definitely what will happen, I'm sorry, I don't think very highly of you now, right? These are things that are
Mm.
inherently uncertain. Even at most, Vladimir Putin knows, that's all, and even then he might not know. It's not what he wants to do,
Yeah,
right?
true.
But I wanted to use this chance because you read the news and it goes up and down. Like, oh, USA Russia will go to war, it went down. Oh, Russia removed their troops, it went up, and today of course Russia sent troops, it went down, right? So how do we, with such a news cycle and with the market being horribly volatile now, with our earnings reports and all that, how do we want to think about the market, right? Do we go and say, well, we look at the business only? Let's say I'm a owner of Shopify. Obviously, this doesn't really affect me. Maybe there's like a second, third, or 1%, half a percent chance of World War III, and that will affect me. But other than that, it won't, right? So I don't care. Or how do we want to think through this? I think that's what I wanted to talk about with you guys.
All right. I think the pseudo geopolitical expert should go first.
Oh yes. From a pseudo historian point of view, let us not forget that Kiev was where it started, right? So that's where the whole Russian Federation, they started in Kiev. So there's historical value there. That's one thing. So there's also the part of like when internally you're messy, then you try to attack outside fire a common enemy, right? So I think there's a lot of that part, in Russia's move to try to control Ukraine, less so on some sort of economic goal. There's no economic goal in this. They already got Crimea as a fresh port. They have built multiple gas pipes away from Ukraine, so there's no real thing there, right? So I would say whatever it is, I doubt the US will intervene directly from
Yep.
send troops in. It's stupid, it's crazy. I doubt the EU will participate also because there's no NATO pact. Right, so a lot of the volatility is uncertain on the sanctions against Russia, right, and how these sanctions will then affect oil prices, right, and gold prices, and gold's more like a hedge, lah. So I think the main thing is still oil, right? Oil is the main
Yes.
discussion.
Oil and gas.
Yeah, oil and
Yes.
gas. So, I would say sanctions will come in, very likely. They have to do something, right? So there will definitely be sanctions. Uh, but I'm not a pro in oil and gas. I'm a pseudo pro in geopolitics lah, but not oil and gas lah. Okay, just want to say, and let us not forget, the oil futures tanked the other time. There's still a lot of oil stuck in a lot of midstream, tankers and storage, right? So I would say from a supply perspective, um, they could route away into Turkey. They could route into China, to resell elsewhere. So from a supply perspective, it's probably going to be relatively stable. But will this whole extended process and tariffs and what have you, all the middleman fees that they have to then pay, affect the overall price? This one, I'm not too sure. Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Wow. I think
Rakesh,
for
do you have
me it
anything?
was for me it was about oil and gas as well. But I really don't know. Right. I think I've given up trying to read the market. When it comes, it comes.
Cause
Really,
of
really just
amplitude
being
lah, really, it's really cause of amplitude.
no. I got others. But that one, wow,
Okay,
that one.
others all
Right,
right,
all
right,
down, right? See, guys, this is why you need to own DBS, okay?
Yes.
Singapore shares.
UOB, wasn't it? UOB also skyrocketed, I think.
Yeah.
But oil and gas is definitely there, but I think there's too much I don't know in that field. I do know that they keep a lot of storage, and whether that will affect is another one. However, the part that I'm worried about, or the part that I am concerned about, is just confidence, right? Consumer confidence, which in economics means keep and hold cash, or keep and buy gold, or something to that effect, right? And for me, that's the part. Whether it's going to be affecting the stock, absolutely zero.
Consumer confidence, like
Right. To Reggie's point.
What do you mean? Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Consumer confidence, just like, oh, okay, I don't want to trust the market. I think things are going to go to shit. We might go to World War. I want to hold cash. So I sell everything, all of my investments, all of my assets, and just hold cash.
Really? Aren't those like preppers?
So that's the part. I don't know. Sorry?
That's challenging.
Yeah, I don't know. I think those are. I don't know. Is that
like to me that's a far out,
yeah, that's like super
possibility.
small. Yeah. I mean, in the
But
normal
I
distribution,
guess-
these guys will be at the end, right? So
But I guess it's one of those.
Okay,
things where
of course,
it's a
not
small
everything,
probability.
right? Not everything that is holding cash.
Yeah, but I think, to think about it, it's also one of those things where there's a very small probability, but the effects are serious, right?
Yeah,
It's outsized
Yes.
impact. It's not like earnings miss a bit here, miss a bit there. It's literally World War III, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's the reason for it as well. It's one of those like, this could kill you. You are not going to survive from. You're not going to come back from this type of thing. Right. So and that's why the market's behaving that way, because if it's like 1,000% change, but 1% chance of it happening, your expected value is still big, right? So I mean, let's not say that it's a low possibility, therefore we don't think about it. This one, because it's of its outside effects, I think and on confidence, on the ability of the world economy to function, on the ability of the world to function, right? There has to be some sort of effect on it.
Yeah, but are we seeing Bitcoin prices move up?
Yeah.
No, it crashed.
Yeah, you see.
Come on.
Who's the one that said Bitcoin is the new gold?
Yeah.
Who's the one that?
Not us lah. Sorry.
No, not
That
us,
one
not
I don't
us,
know.
not
That
us.
one.
Yeah. Bitcoin is the
we
new
have
digital
been
gold.
laughing about the inflation hedge thing for like the last few weeks.
Yeah, I know. I was consuming
Yeah,
your
exactly.
content. Yes, I was like, yeah. I agree with that. Yes, it's inflation
on,
hedge,
guys.
and let us not forget, as more and more Wall Street money go into any asset, increase in securitization will lead to an increase in correlation with the markets.
Yes.
Right. So
Absolutely.
for all you people that are like super excited about crypto, you should be a little bit concerned when all this big money comes in, right? They will control your game. Yeah.
But it's okay. At least everybody knows what game is being played. I think that's important. Now we just need regulation to come in with like rules of the game. Otherwise, it's just mess.
Yeah, it's a wild west.
Absolutely.
But fun what to do? It's like $1,000 bets everywhere.
Fair. Options is options, bro.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, it's option.
But I got one question for you
Cool.
guys, right? With regards to this Russia moving into Ukraine, all of these things. Do we know what happened when they hit Crimea? what happened
Okay.
to the market? I mean, back then.
Yeah, so I actually saw something on this today, on Twitter because I
Mm.
did not want to work on my day on leave. So essentially, every single conflict, right? Even if it's local, if like it's US invading Iraq, it's something to do with Egypt, markets go down, right? And they go down
Mm.
very quickly in very short order. It's like 10% in 10 days, that kind of thing, right? Or 15-20%, depending on the severity of the conflict. So but it's historical that it always goes down, and it always goes down quickly, right? But we have gone past all this, right? And the market has kept going
Mm.
up. It goes up and to the right if you zoom out long enough.
Mm.
So I think it's
Bro,
okay,
that's like a
right?
meme these days. You zoom out far enough.
Zoom,
It's
It's
up
like,
and to the right.
oh yeah,
unpinch,
market not doing well. It's
unpinch.
okay. Let's zoom out. Let's zoom out.
Yeah.
Alright, guys, let's zoom out.
It's it's okay. If you buy Bitcoin, you can even change your log scale, right? And it looks even better.
Oh, you got a log scale me now. Okay.
Yes, but but I think that's what has happened, right? Because none of these events have really led to the world ending, or like
Mm.
economies collapsing. At least the U.S. economy, because the U.S. isn't being invaded, right? So markets have always recovered, and that's why I was thinking, oh, actually, you know what? This might be a time to, if you haven't been DCAing, to really start looking at it, right? Because as you said, a lot of the tech companies that we look at, they are not really going to be affected unless shit really happens, right? Like really happens. And if that's the case, but the market is discounting it, why not? Right?
Mm.
Like the whole point of a lot of value investing is to say, oh yeah, market can be slightly inefficient in the short term because of emotions, whatever. Our goal is to try to make use of that, right?
Exactly. Right.
So
Mm.
I think now is a, not financial advice, but now is a decent time to go, oh yeah, I like this company. I think good fundamentals, they can survive. They're not going to be affected by a war in Ukraine, or sanctions against US because they are US tech company. They don't care about Russia. Then it's time to start scaling in as the markets, puke because of whatever reason.
Yeah. And I think a lot of these companies have come down very seriously in price, right? Like
Yes.
$15 billion, sub 20 billion range is very exciting, right? Very, okay, not financial advice, but sub 20 billion, very easy to get multi-baggers. Really,
Yes.
really, right? I'm a little bit edgy on like the 1 billion, 2 billion space, because a lot of them are in the early days of their business, nobody's really very confident yet. They're also figuring things out. But usually when a business can get to a $10 billion valuation, that means there's a big bunch of people that already kind of understands and agree and recognizes the value of the business, right? So
Yeah.
but of course it's not a given. Doesn't mean it's it's expensive means it's good.
Yes.
But it's a safe. I after
It's,
investing
it's a
for
nice
many
range,
years,
right?
it's a
Because
safe range.
yes, it's like their business model is kind of proven.
Yes.
They are not like giving you $2 to earn $1 just to grow revenue to
Yes,
like
yes,
make their
yes.
metrics look better. They
Yes,
have some
yes.
free cash flow
Yes.
and all that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think. I mean, you could look at the metrics specifically, but if you don't, and you just want to look at market cap, I guess that kind of works too.
Yeah, I mean, okay, you don't just look at market cap, please don't.
Yeah, but I mean, the
from
market cap is the
experience,
size. It's a signal of where they have developed.
yes,
to.
yes. From experience, usually $10 to $20 billion businesses, at fair valuation, are usually considered quite interesting because like what Anthony said, market's been proven, model's been proven. Whether can continue to grow, that's the big question mark, right? And then if they can continue to grow and dominate the space they're in, then yes, you get the multi-baggers. Right, so pretty much that's the one of the key indicators, which I will talk about in next week's episode. Well, Macam, I come to
Okay.
your episode today, right, to market my
Full.
podcast, right? Yes.
Cross poly.
When are we going to yours to market our podcast?
Okay, come to mine.
Yeah,
Yes, come to mine.
exactly.
Yes.
Every week now, every week. Okay.
every week, yes, cross pollinate.
Awesome, coconuts. Thanks so much for listening in. Hope this was useful. And we will see you folks next week. Bye.
All right. See you guys.
Take care. Bye.